Before I start this video, I just have a message for the person that obtained the One Wish Willow. You wanted a scary movie made by the Wayans brothers again, and you got your wish. However, you made the wish without seeing the movie Obsession, and because of that, you didn't realize that once your wish was granted, that what you would get is a soulless husk of what you actually truly wanted. I think you see where this is going. Yeah, Scary Movie 6 is out. But not only that, Masters of the Universe. And I had the luxury of seeing both yesterday back to back. And boy, are my brain cells tired.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Originally, I was only going to see Scary Movie 6. I didn't really have any interest in Masters of the Universe. I've just never had interest in Masters of the Universe. I don't think there's anything wrong with the property. I've never really cared for that whole Mattel, the Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, Transformer, G.I. Joe, those cartoons. They just were never my thing. So I didn't grow up watching the show. I didn't see the Dolph Lundgren movie. So it's just Masters of the Universe is just right over my head. I'm not the target audience. But then, like always, I see the Rotten Tomatoes score reviews, and then I realize, the movie that I do have nostalgia for, the one that I grew up with, not looking so good. And the one that I can care less about, looking pretty good. Now, not to say that I base what I watch on the tomato scores. I mean, it does help pique my interest, but I know that just going solely off scores means fuck all. So I was curious, and I was like, all right, well, I might as well just check out this one that's getting glowing reviews as well. Just do a back-to-back screening. And I mean, even a low score for Scary Movie, that's nothing new. I think they're all sitting low. So anyways, rambling aside, I figured I'd check out both movies and talk about them both. And I'm probably going to go in order from which I saw them, so I guess that'd be Masters of the Universe first.
And the Masters of the Universe!
I might get a little sidetracked here, but this movie feels a lot to me in the same way that James Gunn's Superman did. There's a lot of familiar feelings in which this is a beloved, iconic-ish property. Superman's very iconic. This is maybe not as iconic. I don't know, whatever. But it's a beloved older property. It's getting a little bit more modernized, and so far people are loving it. Okay. I went to see it not knowing anything about Masters of the Universe, just like I didn't know anything about Superman. And I didn't love it.
You what?
That's not to say I didn't hate it or anything. In fact, I'll just say this. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie. I had fun watching it. It wasn't great or anything. I'll say it's good. But for the core audience that this movie is geared towards, yeah, I think I could see why you are going to love this. So I would say the only fault really of this movie is that I am not the target audience. So it's a me, not you type thing. But now I know I know a little bit more about it, and it's interesting. I saw some pretty heavy maybe things that I was just like, man, that's very Guardians, that's very Thor. But I mean, how much of Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy has been lifted from Masters of the Universe? Probably a lot. So that's just whatever. It's a little bit of just borrowing back and forth from each other.
That's the same fish they just passed each other.
Fish flew.
We gotta get them to fight. They just passed that same fish head back and forth. You think we can get them to fight?
Yeah, this movie is a bit strange. It's a bit clunky, a bit campy, a bit cheesy dialogue. But for all that, for all these holes that I feel like I'm poking in it, I can't help but feel like they're all there for a reason. Like it's paying homage to this old 80s cartoon that is all those things I just said. So I can't fault it for that, because it's directly adapting an old cartoon, and in that sense it's doing it perfectly. So so that, like, it's weird for me to see, but for someone that is a lover of this stuff is probably going to say this is fucking just on point. It's perfect. I think what helps this movie a lot for me is the characters. He-Man, to me, has always seemed so ridiculous. He's just he's the hero. He's the most powerful guy in a ridiculous outfit. I always thought was so stupid. With the ridiculous haircut, I also always thought was so stupid. I never, there was nothing there that I thought was interesting. And I was kind of expecting that in this movie. But no, I kind of enjoyed the character. The actor, I don't recognize him in anything, I don't think.
Are you serious?
One of the funny things I think about his character, though, is when he is not He-Man, because I know he's technically like two people. He's He-Man and he's Adam, son of a whatever the hell. In in his normal Adam form without the powers, I think they try to make you feel like he's a scrawny, like he's a nerd. He's like, this guy is a hero. He looks nothing like a hero. He's weak. He's going to the gym to try to work out so he can get big, so he can feel like he's finally a hero. And I think what they do to hide all his muscles, because you can tell how freaking huge he is. They just give him, you see it in the trailers, right? Just baggy button-down shirts. But you could just see he's about as wide as a house underneath all those clothes.
You may have the power, but you're too scared to use it.
Jared Leto, I think he did a good job. The Skeletor is menacing. He's very cartoonish. He's very campy. And very silly in moments where he's giving like a big heroic speech and then kind of just looking around to see if everyone's getting the same vibe going and making sure like, all right, speech is over, back to work. As freaking silly as it is, it freaking works pretty well. He does a really good job at doing that and being scary at the same time. Like, you really feel like he's just an evil motherfucker. Surprisingly played by someone who has done some allegedly evil stuff. So maybe he just channeled some stuff. I don't know. I don't want to say. But yeah, he did a pretty good job of just being the bad guy. And in his ending fight with He-Man, Skeletor is just going to straight up tell him,
I am the villain. Does it feel good?
yeah, I guess so. This guy's not trying to right some wrongs or he's damaged by a brutal past of some kind. He's just straight up the villain and he calls it out. It's like, no, I'm the villain. So yeah, Skeletor, I love that. I love that portrayal. And I think one of my favorite things overall in this whole movie was definitely when a depowered He-Man, so he's just back to being Adam, he gets grabbed by Skeletor and Skeletor's just kind of throwing him up against the wall and throwing him against the floor. And it's kind of teleporting its portions of his life in Earth, like little scenarios of him at his job, him on a blind date, him at the gym. And Skeletor is just there in his world. Looks the exact same, but maybe in the gym. He's in gym attire, just pumping iron, and he's giving a whole menacing speech. I just thought that was so cool. That was like such an awesome scene. That really, like, I was like, damn, this is, I don't know how they could have incorporated and did more stuff like this, but this was really cool. I like that a lot. But yeah, the story kind of plays out pretty formulaic, so I don't think I really need to go into it. Even if you haven't seen the movie yet, but you've seen the trailer, you're probably going to know how A to B to C kind of all goes down. It's you don't really need to go too much into it. Everything happens the way you would expect. But there are things that I do recognize, like at the end when one of them makes a joke and they all kind of just hands at the hip, throw their head back and start laughing. And so to go back to just like some campy, stupid, silly stuff, sometimes it's fun. That's why I feel like I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't too serious. If anything, it's definitely not subtle. In a lot of its delivery of anything you could think of. Throwbacks, nostalgia baiting, it's not subtle whatsoever. It goes hard. It's not a subtle movie. But you know what? Again, isn't that like from an older time? Things weren't subtle. Things weren't just like, you didn't have to analyze everything under a microscope to see like what they were trying to convey. It's just right in your face. This movie is exactly what they set out to do, and I can't fault them for it. So it's good.
We bag.
And so we move on to Scary Movie. Now look, when the trailer first dropped for this movie, I was not enthused. The trailer had, I don't think I laughed a single time at any joke. When it opened with the on the bus, the they them joke, I kind of just shrugged and went, oh crap, not this. Not that there's anything wrong with edgy jokes, with politically incorrect jokes. I don't find anything wrong with them. The joke that someone says, it's they, them, in an absurd situation where they are in danger, that's pretty lazy. That's pretty uninspiring as it gets. That's the stuff that was kind of at the forefront of the jokes of the scary movies and the disaster movies and epic movies, the stuff that the Wayans brothers weren't a part of, that we all wanted to get away from. The lazy, uninspired jokes, the just are not even really jokes, they're just kind of references. Oh man. But I had hope because, I mean, you're not going to put your funny stuff in a trailer. You're not going to, well, okay, you're going to put funny things in a trailer, but you're not going to put your funniest stuff in the trailer. So I hoped that maybe they were just saving all the good stuff for the movie.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I didn't find this funny at all, really. I mean, there was a couple jokes here and there that kind of made me like chuckle under my breath, but for the most part, it was just me watching, just like, what? Why am I back here? I thought we were moving away from this. I thought we were going back to the original formula. Why are we back here watching just disaster movie 2.0, basically? Now, if I remember correctly, I think the Wayans brothers said that they are going to offend everybody in making this movie. That the younger generation isn't going to be able to handle this movie. If they thought they were creating something super edgy, super scathing, like super politically incorrect, that wasn't the case. What they basically created was Michael Scott's roasted skit.
You've slept with so many guys, you're starting to look like one. Boom, roasted. Kevin, I can't decide between a fat joke and a dumb joke. Boom, roasted.
Although I think Michael Scott's roasts are probably even more scathing than what happened in this movie. And that's not even like what Scary Movie truly is. From my memory, it's not just going around and just like trying to find different groups of people just to poke fun at. That's not even what the movie is about. That kind of seems like what they tried to make this movie about. I don't know. Original Scary Movie, from my memory, was just jokes and sight gags, funny for the sake of being funny. I mean, it was offensive, but that's because it had to really push the boundaries to get to the funniest point of the joke. And this, it didn't seem like they were pushing boundaries to get to a joke. It just seemed like they were just, it could have just been a flash of cue cards to just be like, hey, is this offensive? Is this offensive? I don't know. The directing kind of seemed a little odd as well. I mean, maybe it's the story writing. I'm not sure. But in the original movies, all these ideas and portrayals of other scary movies are kind of blended, woven in to make a mostly seamless story that you can follow along with, or at least it just kind of all feels like it should be there in this crazy ass universe. In this movie, it just kind of felt like they just took tropes and images of other movies, parodying characters, and just kind of stapled it to make just like this weird collage mash of a movie, basically. But yeah, it just kind of feels like a patchwork of story ideas and flashcard jokes, I guess. Flashcard offensive humor that's not even offensive. And I think one of the glaring things for me also was the fact that it's very meta. It's way they are just like everyone's like what they've been doing since the Scary Movie franchise, what they've been doing, that's getting mentioned. What they brought to the Scary Movie franchise, that's getting mentioned. Who's carrying over for the Scary Movie franchise, that's getting mentioned. It's very, very, like, it's just in your face with just the meta whatever the hell. I don't know, man. It was a lot. It kind of I got tired of it. Just hearing everyone's like, hey, you took on the Scary Movie 3 and 4. What was that for? Hey, I'm taking over this franchise now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's funny. And in terms of the original cast being back, I mean, I'd love to say that I'm glad to see these guys back, but maybe like the first flashes of seeing them for the first couple seconds, but after that is like, well, this isn't really going to go anywhere, is it? Maybe I'm not glad to see you guys back. As horrible as that sounds, you know, you got old cast and new cast coming in. And the whole point of this movie, I guess, by the end, the driving point is that we're following tropes here. Well, in the Legacy sequel, the new cast is going to take over while the old cast dies off to pass on the torch. Well, fuck that, because this movie is going to offend the younger generation by killing them off and saying, no, we're the old people. We're going to stay in charge of this franchise. It's not word for word, but it's probably pretty damn close. And maybe that's what was supposed to offend the newer generation, that they got killed off and they're not getting a chance to take over the Scary Movie franchise, which I still love and hold dear to my heart. The first and second movie. I mean, I went to see both of those movies in theaters, and I didn't see any of the other ones, which is kind of what made me want to see this one, because I realized, oh, I've only seen the Wayans Brothers scary movies in theaters, so I guess I better just keep the tradition going. Well, sometimes traditions are stupid. Look, to finish this off, all I'll say is, if you want to support this movie, by all means. I mean, it's the Wayans Brothers scary movie again. Maybe they'll get a chance to do another one and fix some of the issues. I would love that. But if you want to enjoy the Scary Movie, just rewatch the first and second one this weekend, next weekend, whatever. That's my best advice for you. Yeah, that's about it. Until next time. Bye.